recommend.
Yeah.
I met
I think
her.
ours.
I wanna look into
What we got now,
Colorado
is you can hardly service it.
We used to be a big mess.
Yeah,
Like,
it was like happy
Right.
birthday.
But I think like control panels now are to the point where if you have something wrong, it's just,
They can't.
it's just wrong. Yeah.
It's hard.
New dirt bike. My son rides pretty hard. Yeah, he's a
I haven't seen Bruce yet.
fan, but he's
No. It's 6 o'clock.
very
we
good,
start.
like Yamaha, Yeah.
Yes.
picked him up.
Oh, okay.
We're struggling.
So it's time for the track.
Oh,
Okay, we can go ahead and start.
he's very good.
Is Andrea, oh, she's there. Yes, yes. Oh,
Here's somebody.
first we'll have Andrea, our interpreter, give an introduction. Oh, he is coming. Very good. You can go ahead, Andrea.
Oops.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Andrea. I'm here with the Community Language Cooperative. We're going to be practicing language justice today, and we're going to have simultaneous interpretation in English and in Spanish so that everybody can hear in the language of their heart. I want to remind the people that are in the room right now that everything you say can be we can hear over here in Zoom. Every time that you turn pages, every time that you touch the table, every time that you move a water cup, everything can be heard here on Zoom. So be very mindful of all of your movements during the on that table. Make sure that you speak only one person at a time so that as the interpreter, I don't have to choose who to interpret for. And please speak at a conversational pace and very clearly. If at some point I am having difficulty hearing you or I need you to slow down, I will turn on my camera and I will let you know that I can hear you and I need you to speak up or that I need you to slow down and stretch your words so that I can keep up with you. I don't know if you in the city are having issues with the internet, but you are completely frozen for the Zoom people. Y hola a todos, soy Andrea, estoy aquí con la Community Language Cooperative. Vamos a estar practicando la justicia del lenguaje y vamos a tener interpretación simultánea en inglés y en español para que podamos comunicarnos en el idioma de nuestro corazón. Para aquellos que van a ver esta grabación en español, ustedes pueden encontrar el enlace de YouTube, de la página de YouTube de la ciudad, en la parte de arriba de la agenda de estas reuniones.
So we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is 18:02 or 6:02 PM. For January 12th, 2026. Items to be discussed are the GO bond refunding discussion.
Alrighty, so, I'll introduce us a little bit and then I'll ask, Teresa and Bruce to take over and talk about this, but, we have a, interesting opportunity to look at, refunding our, general obligation bonds that were, issued, in 2016, trying to remember. A great opportunity to possibly save quite a bit of money for the city on an annual basis. And I think with that, I'm just gonna kind of turn it over to Teresa. Teresa, do you want to start us off and then Bruce can hop in and let me just do real quickly with Bruce Kimmel. Bruce has been our financial advisor for the city ever since we did the driving change program. He's with Ellers and advised us on that bond issue, so he's very, very familiar with the city and our financial situation, works with us on a number of different issues. So turn that over to Teresa if you want to start off, Teresa, and then have Bruce as well.
All right, good evening, everyone. So tonight, we have the 2016 and the 2017 GO bonds that we have issued, and they are now in a time frame where they can be refinanced or refunded. And we had looked at this earlier in 2025, and with the interest rates and everything, it wasn't something that we felt was going to save enough money to be worth the city's time and money to do the refinancing. Things have changed. Bruce reached back out to us and showed us how, that we can roughly, we think, save a little over $2 million over the rest of the bond payment period. And so that kind of made it a lot more attractive, I think. And we don't have to go to the voters. We don't have to do anything. So that's always a good point. And we are going to get a little out of my depth. So I'm going to let Bruce talk. So Bruce, please take this away.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Devin and council members. Bruce Kimmel with Ellers. It's good to be back with you. Happy New Year. Happy 2026. And this is kind of a fun way to start the new year in terms of this opportunity to refinance the city's existing debt and save the city and its taxpayers quite a bit of money over the next several years. I believe you had some information on this refunding opportunity in your packet. I will hit a couple of high points, but please stop me along the way with any questions. And the first thing I just want to really stress is that this is an opportunity. It's not a crisis. It's also not a one-time opportunity. So if you, for whatever reason, don't feel like this is the right time to exercise the city's refinancing option, that is perfectly okay. We all, the city, Teresa, Devin, and I believe that this is a timely opportunity and one worthy of your consideration. But again, I would never want you to feel like, you know, we were pressing this refinancing onto you in any way, shape, or form. So with that caveat, I did just want to hit a couple of key points. The biggest one is you're probably wondering, well, how much money are we really talking about saving? And what we did is we compared your existing debt service on the 2016 and 2017 bonds. And that's roughly $2.1 million per year. And we estimated the debt service on the refinancing bonds if you were to just pay off or, issue bonds that were sufficient to just pay off the existing balances on the old bonds. What would the debt service be on those new or refinancing bonds? And what we found is that we're estimating the debt service on those new bonds would be a little bit over 1.9 million per year. So net, when you factor in the new financing and all the costs associated with that, and when you compare that to the old debt service, we're looking at prospective savings of about $140,000 per year. That would be in 2026 through 2041, so about 15 years, and then there's a little tail in 2042. And so the total savings would be right around 2.3 million, a little bit over that. Now, of course, we don't have a crystal ball. It's impossible to know exactly what the market will do between now and the sale date. But we are seeing overall downward pressure on interest rates. That's in part due to what the Federal Reserve is doing. It's also in part just due to increasing expectations of a recession. And when we are thinking that things are going to cool off economically, or if they've already cooled off economically, investors tend to demand lower interest rates. They'll accept lower interest rates, that is, than they would in better economic conditions. And so while that's not great for us as individuals, it's very good for the city, right? Because the city wants lower interest rates on its debt and wants that lower cost for its taxpayers. So again, just to recap, we're looking at savings, again, net of all new costs associated with the refinancing of about $140,000 per year, or roughly $2.3 million in total. Do any of you have any questions about the refinancing? It would work very similarly. I should note, the process would work very similar to that of the COP offering that the city did last year for the energy projects. This would be a GEO bond, so the rating will be a little bit higher than it was on the COPs, which will be great for interest rates as well. But in terms of working with bond counsel to prepare the official statement, in terms of having resolutions that will be considered by the city council at future meetings, and in terms of that competitive bond sale itself, soliciting bids from underwriting firms around the country, that process will be similar to what we had with the COP deal as well. So let me stop there and ask if you have any questions.
I have one. Is the coupon percentage the interest rate?
Yes, exactly. That is the estimated interest rate on a maturity by maturity basis. Each maturity, which means the bonds coming due in a given year, will have its own interest rate, and the bidders on the bond issue decide what interest rate they want on each of those maturities, and then we have a way of comparing all of those on an apples to apples basis to figure out which is the best deal for the city.
Does that answer your question, Jay?
It definitely did.
Okay, good,
Okay.
good. Any other questions anybody has?
If we agree to this and we find out after closing, is there a right of rescission that we can revoke it if we need to?
Yeah, I'm really glad that you raised that. Thank you for doing that. It's been a few years since we've actually had good refunding opportunities, and so I'm needing to regain some of my narrative. But what we would do, council members, is if you want to go forward this, you would consider a resolution at an upcoming council meeting to give the green light for next steps. But if the market moves away from us between then and the bond sale date, i.e. if we see rates going up, and we track that on a daily basis, we would be in touch with Devin and Teresa and say, gosh, I think we need to call a timeout on this. Because what we don't want to do is get to the bond sale date and then have, really disappointing results. Now, we can still say, sorry, it's not good enough. We're not going to award the bonds. That's absolutely your prerogative. But it's better to call a timeout if things look like they're trending that direction. And we usually have a pretty good sense of what the market will look like. So you'll get advance warning if anything is going south. And then certainly if the savings just aren't there, we would, likely give the winning bidder a heads up even before the council meeting that an award was not likely. And then we would, discuss that in detail with you that evening. So just know that, we would have that ability to adjust course if things didn't pan out.
And we'd much prefer, if it looks like we're not gonna get the rates and where it's going, or we would hope it would be going, to not go to market at all, just because that affects potential future sales that we might want.
Yeah,
to look at.
it's not a great look. It's not the end of the world, but yes, Devin, you're absolutely right. We would likely just call a timeout and wait for market conditions to improve, which I think they will. But the world is so topsy-turvy that we are seeing some up and down. And so if we happen to have bad luck and catch an up moment in terms of interest rates, we would certainly be the first ones to say, hey, let's hit the pause button.
One good thing, and Bruce shared this with Teresa and I in a meeting earlier, was that there's high demand for Colorado municipal bonds. And we saw that reflected in our COPs that we did, which are slightly different instruments, right? But also looking at doing a similar type of a competitive sale that would hopefully generate the best rates for us as a city there. And we're seeing a lot of interest, right now. So it looks pretty favorable. And hopefully, Bruce is absolutely right. The way things are right now, it can change on a dime. Who knows? But the way things are looking right now, it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Bruce, this is Sally. Good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
The date is the 28th, so if we were to go ahead and do a resolution on the 26th, that would give you plenty of time.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. No, we will, and this is not the city's fault. I have not, basically with all the holidays and everything, I have not updated the schedule. So if you pass this resolution on the 26th, you would actually be looking at selling the bonds at the end of February and closing in March. So my apologies for not having that updated calendar to you, but we'll work with Devin and Teresa to get that, and you will have that in your packets for the 26th is the actual proposed bond sale calendar.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it'd be.
Thank you for raising that. We wanted to give you this initial look here on the 12th before coming to you with the resolution on the 26th. And then, yeah, we would look to do the sale in February.
Okay.
But also like to put out that we discussed this with Bruce earlier, in looking at the estimates that they have. These are very conservative estimates, right? So we're hopeful that would perform even better, but he's modeled this out here to be a very, very conservative look at things, which is the way that Teresa and I like to do it, and we know that the council likes to do it that way as well. Just be very conservative, and then hopefully we get to come back to you and go, hey, the sale went great, and we're gonna save even more money than we thought.
Correct.
Teresa, you have anything else on that?
I don't, just, if you guys want to proceed, we will continue, or if you don't, then we can send Bruce home.
So.
And Mayor and Council, I'm sorry, Devin, go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, again, this is an opportunity. I like to, joke that this is like finding $2.3 million of change in the couch cushions. That's a lot of change. But again, we think it's the right time to exercise this option and maximize the savings over the remaining term of the bonds. But again, it's no one's saying you have to do it. We just think it's a good opportunity to seize when we can.
Any other questions? Next, I guess then we do the review of agenda items.
Okay, and I just want to check in with everybody. So everybody's kind of thumbs up right now. Want to go ahead and move forward with that. Okay, all right. So we will work on doing that and preparing the resolution that would authorize all that. We'll get an updated calendar to folks so you know what days we'll actually be going to on that. And is there anything else that you need, Bruce or Teresa, that you need as far as direction right now?
No, this is perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Okay,
Go
good.
forward and have fun.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. Have a good
All
night.
right, bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Bruce.
Yep.
Okay, what do we got next? Let me get,
Agenda item.
yeah,
Excuse me.
let me pull that up here. Okay, we got a big packet tonight. And kind of walk through these items here with you. So our first item tonight is going to be a public hearing, excuse me, on a conditional use permit. The first thing I'll point out and remind everybody, this is a quasi judicial proceeding. Okay, so it's going to be very formal. It's taking evidence. It is basing your decisions based on those evidence that is provided to you. The one thing, and then Clark, did you get the opportunity to talk to the city attorney about
Yeah, he
this?
just step out.
Yeah, so
Next time.
Clark will have to recuse himself from this one because he was on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Yes.
And so he's already voted on this actually, when he was a Planning and Zoning Commissioner. So that is a conflict. He can't vote as a Planning and Zoning Commissioner and as a council.
When that time come, will you just,
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll give you a little heads up and then what you can do, Clark, just for the record, go on the advice of the city attorney. I'm recusing myself from this proceeding due to the fact that I've already voted on it when I was a Planning and Zoning Commission. That way you're on the record as recusing yourself, and then you can just leave the room. And then we'll come get you when it's
You stick
all
with
done. We'll come get you, man, I promise.
I'm talking about what before I.
Yeah.
I mean, signal before I speak.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the mayor can give you a little heads up, okay? Just to make sure, because we want to get you on the record.
Okay.
There's a spot in the script that actually specifically calls out the recusals.
Is that
And
good?
if there's this
Okay.
order, so it is in your script,
Perfect,
yes.
perfect.
Can we know how he voted?
It's a secret.
When we get up there, yes, we don't want to do it here since it's quasi judicial. We want everything to be discussed up there, but we absolutely, you can, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. And since it is quasi judicial and we're not going to discuss it any further, that's all I've got on that one. So we'll have that up there and we'll talk about that upstairs more. Okay. After the public hearing on that, we have ordinances on second reading. So we have the second reading of the Planning and Zoning Commission membership requirements. Again, you remember that'll be the changes to our code that allow planning and zoning members to be compensated for attending the meetings. Did anybody have any questions about that item? I think we kind of covered that at the last meeting and talked about that a little bit in that process that we went through with that. So that one, I think that's going to be, very, hopefully it will be beneficial in attracting and retaining more planning and zoning commission members. We're 3 short right now, I think, Andrew.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 short right now, so hopefully that will generate some, well, it will be 2 short. after we
Depending
do-
on how
on-
the last item is.
Right, exactly. Okay, so that's item there. The next item, ordinance on second reading is going to be establishing the salary for the presiding municipal court judge. This is Judge Soros. Now, it's a little bit different in that for a presiding municipal judge, we have to establish, we have a contract with Judge Soros, right? A service agreement. That's also on your agenda tonight as well. But there are provisions in state law that say we have to set the presiding municipal judge's salary by ordinance. So we have an ordinance that just does the salary part, and then we have a resolution that approves a service agreement with the judge herself. So 2 items tonight to secure the services of Judge Soros. Any questions about those? As you will recall, you guys, as a council, did your performance evaluation with Judge Soros in, let's see, was it in November? Was it November? We did that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, November 10th,
November 10th, when we also did your.
or is it November 17th? Yeah.
Right, that's right. Thank you. Where we also did the reviews for the city manager and for the city clerk. The recommendation coming out of those meetings was that we would increase Judge Soros's compensation from 50,000 to 60,000 a year. That is reflected in the ordinance and also is reflected in the service agreement with her as well. I think the only other change in the service agreement, I'll kind of roll those 2 together, since we're talking about those. The only other item that we have in the service agreement that might be a little bit different, and let me pull that up really quick, just so I get the right language on that. Thing is a little bit slow here. Where is the resolution? There it is. So the resolution, if it will let me turn the page. Okay. For the service agreement with Judge Soros, we put some language in here that clarified that while the city will make sure that we're paying for the cost of any substitute municipal judges, it is the responsibility of the presiding municipal judge, of Judge Soros, to make arrangements to make sure that she's covering anytime that she needs to have a substitute judge. And that's happened once, maybe twice a year, where we have to make arrangements for her to have a substitute judge if she can't make a Friday. But again, we are responsible for cities paying for that, but we want her to make all the arrangements to whoever the substitute judge will be. And that wasn't clear in our last service agreement. Yes, Jay?
It's probably not a huge amount, but it's kind of double dipping if she's
a little bit
out here. And then
It does. I talked to the judge about it. It is standard practice, is what we find with all the other municipalities with their contracts with their judges, is that they do cover those costs of that. And you can kind of look at it as if you have, say, a contractor that is critical to a functioning of your municipality, which the judge is critical to our service provision here, and that person can't be there, you have to still provide that. So it would be kind of almost the same, maybe if you brought in an interim manager, I was gone for a little while, you're gonna be paying both for a little while. Or any other kind of a contract type position, you're gonna end up, yes, if you got one out for a portion of time, you still have to provide the service and you will incur that cost. But as I've said, it's been once, maybe twice at the most, so we have to do that. Yeah. So there is that language that has been added into that service agreement, just so that it was clear, because it was not clear beforehand. It also still provides language in there that the city council will meet with the presiding judge to kind of go over things. There will be one meeting, and it can be anytime prior to your meeting when you do the performance evaluation. So it's called that let me just get a. Shall meet with the city council annually and prior to the date of any reappointment of a new term, and Judge Soros will have at least one meeting with the city council prior to January of next year to provide an update to the city council regarding the operation of the municipal court. So we wanted to put that language in there, make sure we had that covered. And then just as a reminder, Judge Soros may be removed from office by a majority vote of the entire city council. So it'd have to be all council members. If you're gonna end this contract, it couldn't just be, oh, we're missing Clark tonight and we're missing Jay. We can still have a vote. We can't do that. We'd have to have the entire council present and vote if you're going to terminate that contract. Similar to the contract that you have with me and other contract provisions that you have for those types of services as well. Is there any questions, comments, or concerns about either the ordinance setting the judge's salary or for the service agreement that outlines the services that she provides? Okay. Good. So both of those, so that's, let's see, is this second reading on the ordinance or first?
Okay, reading.
This is second reading, so we
Yeah.
got second reading on the ordinance, the approval of the resolution tonight, so we'll be all done with the judge then after tonight is getting her set up that way. Okay. Moving on down the road. Let me get back to the agenda here.
There's lots of pizza to eat, by the way, for hungry.
Yes.
Feel free to grab some.
Maybe we have plenty of time.
Yes, please eat.
Pace yourself.
Okay, so we talked about planning and zoning commission. Let me get to make sure I didn't skip something.
Must be
First reading.
great water.
Conditional use, are we on gray water?
Yes.
All right, let's talk about gray water. I'm gonna ask Brandon to walk us through the gray water.
Yeah, of course. So
Yeah.
I know most of you don't know me, Brandon, city attorneys. And this is one of the many code changes we have to make every now and then due to state law changes. So for time and attorney, going back to 2013, the state allowed you to opt in to permitting gray water use within your jurisdiction. And so if they don't know, gray water is lightly used domestic water, most typically your wash machine or your shower that you're then reusing for some non-potable use. So typically that's your most likely is irrigation. You can also use it for things like toilet flushing as well. And so these can be very simple systems or very complex systems depending on how you run it. What you do need, if you do this though, is a lot of regulations in place to make sure there's no cross connections or you're using dirty water for potable uses, right? So you get dangerous pretty quickly if there's nothing controlling how this works.
Yeah.
And so in 2013, the state allows these systems to be put in place, and each state, each jurisdiction can opt into doing it. Fast forward to 2024, the state flips that. It says everyone must do this unless you opt out. And if you don't opt out and you're in effect opting in, you must pass comprehensive gray water standards for how you're going to run this gray water program within your jurisdiction. Nobody has this in Colorado and this comprehensive, types of regulations. And so the recommendation of CML and pretty much everyone I know, including the city of Boulder, who actually have a pilot program on this, has passed an ordinance opting out for now. If someone were to come forward and say, you know what, we really want to do gray water, then we could look at gray water regulations then. But at least right now, no one wants to do this. It's pretty big, heavy lift to put the regulations in place to do it right. And so our recommendation, along with everywhere else in Colorado, has been just opt out for now. So we don't have to do any additional work on this until such time as it makes sense. Any questions?
And to be clear, we have not had any requests from anybody coming in saying we want to do a gray water system
They're
or.
kind of expensive.
Yeah, and it is basis, and what Brandon's talking about, they have to be parallel type systems, so it's like, if you're running. Whatever it might be, you're building an office park or something like that, and you want to run a gray water system maybe for irrigation or something like that. It has to be a completely separate system from your potable water system and everything else, so it's very high cost for folks, and that's the main reason why a lot of people don't do it. It's very high cost. It's extremely difficult to, well, there's lots of potential downsides is what
Right.
there is to it, so.
The idea is to be more sustainable by reusing the
Right.
slightly used water, but again, to do this, one, retrofit existing buildings is inordinately expensive. And then new buildings is expensive, you gotta have these dual systems. And so, CU Boulder tried to do this, the pilot program with the city of Boulder's blessing. And they actually found it being way more expensive than they thought. And all the savings they were expecting from water use and cost savings kind of evaporated, which is one of the reasons why the city of Boulder declined to opt into this. They were the one that actually had some experience with it.
So this ordinance, 1 of 26, it's suggesting that we make a gray water treatment facility,
No,
No.
We're opting not.
prohibiting the use of gray water.
Right.
Oh,
So we're saying
and
here-
also prohibiting the installation of gray water treatment work.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're
I
saying
read this
we're not gonna allow,
separately.
we're saying we don't have any provisions in our code to do this, and we don't plan on having, we're gonna actually prohibit it until such a time.
Got it, okay.
Somebody comes and makes a request for it.
Yeah.
Or the technology gets better, something along those lines that says, okay, it makes sense for us to consider adopting some regulations around gray water. Right now, it just doesn't make any sense to have it in there.
I get
And
it.
we're not set up to want to mess with it at all. We're just, yeah, and to Brandon, nobody is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if we didn't do this, then somebody could come in the future and say, I want to do a gray water system, and we have nothing to regulate them, basically, they
Yeah.
just do it. And we have no authority to say no to them.
So
So we
we're
kind of have
prohibited.
to. Yep.
Yeah, and we don't know what the impacts of that could be.
But the planning department's knowledge this is a non-issue because nobody has it and nobody cares, right? And so that's probably our most.
Never heard
important part.
anybody ask for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's very few, I mean, the only places I see much where you run into you run into it maybe in some golf courses. That use it they'll have a gray water system that uses non-potable water for irrigation. That's really the only place I've seen it run into much is in irrigation here and there. And there's not very many that do that.
And they run that directly out of the plant.
Right.
So
Right.
It's large scale.
Florida has a pretty hefty system to use
Do they?
for all the golf courses.
For golf courses and things, yeah. So again, this is being driven at the state level. So we need to make sure this is and I would just want to make sure we're in front of on that. Is there any questions or concerns about that? Okay. To our next one. Which is gonna be resolution designating the posting locations. that we-
Wait, before that, you
Did I
had
jump one?
ordinance 2 under registered vehicles and
Oh, my goodness. I'm sorry, how did I?
that's
miss that
also
one?
on first reading.
Oh, there it is. No, that's great.
Help paying attention.
That's gray water. I'm pulling up the wrong ones here. I'm like,
Page 104.
I think I need, 104, thank you. Yep. Okay, my note on here is to ask the chief and Brandon to look us through. This one here, yeah.
So, this was not my primary drafting, but my understanding is that state law changed in order to allow for greater enforcement of expired vehicle tags.
Yeah.
And this is just the local enforcement mechanism to implement that. Anything beyond that?
No, it doesn't change much. We enforce it You know, we're already enforcing it, so it's just a minor change that the process, so.
And then I think the other thing it does in there strikes some language we have about driver's licensing, which we can't and don't enforce, so we don't need it in our code. So we'll just take that out anyway, so getting rid of that. So a little bit of housekeeping thrown in there as well while we're looking at that side of things. So I personally am it's one of my pet peeves is unregistered, unlicensed vehicles. We see it a lot in Colorado. You know, I think I'm kind of glad the state is taking these steps and allow locals to get involved with doing enforcement, as well. So, that's my 2 cents on it. And, not sure how the rest of the council feels, but anything that you guys want to discuss about that one now on this item?
It answers some of what I heard in the Bear Village retirement community that people had cars that had way expired plates and then nobody was doing anything about it. So I could say yes. Or doing something about it.
Yeah. And so basically this gives us the provision in the code to be able to then go and enforce. Allow us to do that. Okay. Good. That one. Oh, come on.
Resolution 126.
Yeah, this is like reloading every time I do something. It's crazy. Okay. Resolution 1. That's always our resolution 1 is always every beginning of each year, our designated posting places. Jenna, you're gonna tell them why we have to do that?
Always have a meeting posting place. It's off the front door and on the website.
Yeah.
Just letting people know when we're having our public meetings.
So this is a state requirement. Everybody has to do this. You have to do, and everybody does it in the very beginning of the year. You have to have a resolution that goes out and says, notice this is where our public posting place is. And our public posting place is out the front door there. We used to have another one. Way long ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
It was down, huh?
Library or the?
It was way before me, but.
We used to have another, I'm trying to remember where it was, and it's been that
Rec
long ago.
center.
Huh?
The rec
Well,
center.
maybe it was the rec
It's at
center.
the rec center.
Because we used to go over to the rec center and change stuff.
Mhm.
Yep.
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 Yeah, the last case there.
Yep. That's right. Thank you, Mayor.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is just basically, it is a requirement of us every year, and this checks that box. Resolution number 2 tonight. This is the service agreement that we talked about for the presiding municipal judge. That includes some of that new language. Seems like we are okay with that one. So let me bring us to resolution number 3, which is our CPS HR consultants and the service agreement that we have with them. So CPS HR does serve as our human resources department for the city. We contract with them on an annual basis. And this service agreement reflects that. I will say, I feel that we have gotten very good service for CPS HR. We have a designated person that is our primary HR manager person in Jennifer Houston, and she offices upstairs in the general government area. I think she does a fantastic job and has done for us for a little while. Also, with the provisions that we get with this is that we get several people that work on behalf of the city. And let me see if I can just want to kind of point out, it reloads again. Okay, let me get to that.
It looks like it's about as thin as a piece of paper. Here.
What's that, James?
Yeah.
What's that?
It looks like it's as thick.
It's behaving weird, and I don't know why. It's usually much quicker than this.
Did you reconnect to the new internet?
I don't know.
That's probably what you're issue is, that you're not connected to the new
It might,
Wi-Fi.
it might be. It's just kind of, it reminds me of like when Wi-Fi, when you first had Wi-Fi.
The dial-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Um,
Wow.
But to give you an idea of beyond just having an HR person up there, that we do a number of services that we contract with them for. So they provide recruitment and selection services, including for our police department. They do leave of absence management, benefits administration. They do all of the onboarding for the recruitment and new hires and all the paperwork that goes along with that. They update payroll files, they manage workers' compensation claims, they coordinate the tracking of all of our required trainings, and we have a lot of trainings that we need to do. Review of the development of our standard and required policies, so they review all of our HR-related policies and standards and make recommendations on those. They do record retention on personnel files. They do electronic files projects that they're working on. They do classification and compensation analysis for us. And then a bunch of other, just some AR or HR types of services. So we get a project manager, a principal HR consultant, a senior HR consultant, and an administrative tech out of this contract. And it generally costs somewhere around $100,000 to $120,000 a year. I'd say we're about pretty good bargain actually for all the level of services that we get here. Trying to think what else I need to talk about. Let's see, PSHR. I think that's it. Again, have been a very good, I think a great benefit. They brought a lot of professionalism and just HR know-how to the city.
I think the biggest thing you guys will notice is that they helped us implement and switch our payroll over to CBIZ.
They did.
And they did all of our benefits with us, switching all over to that. And you have your W-2s now electronically, and you should have gotten those, you can log in and get those today. So yes, if you're looking for a W-2, it is in your CBIZ account. If you need help accessing that, let me know. But it's all digital now instead of it waiting to have it all sent to you or having to come pick it up.
Yeah. It's helped bring a lot of our systems kicking and screaming into the modern era, you know, so I think they've been a great addition to our team here, or shared.
Devin, if I can say something about that, they don't feel like it's a consulting firm at all. They feel like an in-house HR team. And
I think so,
I don't know the exact numbers, but if we're paying around that for everything we get, it's a bargain. We'd be lost in the police department without them, and they are partners. We ask for something new or different, or think about a different way to do something. They do everything they can to implement it, so they do everything they can to help us along the way. Fantastic. I really don't think of people we work with as somebody that we're contracting with. I think of them just like anyone else that's in here. They're our partners, they're our fellow employees, so it's really strong. I can speak highly.
I think so too. I agree with the chief 100%. Just give you an idea that just beyond like the normal, Jennifer is working on a grant to the state that would allow us to do some succession planning. So one of the challenges of being a smaller organization is that you can have, you know, a number of one-person departments and things like that. Well, what happens when Joe retires and your whole finance department's gone now? Because Joe was finance or whatever, you know, that's a bad example here, but you know what I'm saying. And so this would be an effort and they would do the work, but we're submitting for a grant that just became available from DOLA to do this type of succession planning and work on identifying, okay, who is going to be your next public works when Jeremiah decides that he wants to retire? What do we do next? You know, how is that gonna look? And thinking about that now is a more efficient and effective way to operate. You know, there was and I guess, you know, I'm a soccer head and something, but there was a saying in the English Premier League that when you hire, I'm not gonna say it, you hire your next manager, your team manager, or you start planning to hire your next team manager as soon as you hire your new team manager, right? So as soon as you bring someone, you're thinking about, okay, what's the next step? How do we evolve? How do we plan for filling this vacancy? I think so again, when it happens. So this is something that I wanted to do for a little while. It's just been kind of expensive and never really fit into the budget because it's kind of it's more personnel, intensive and, driven by, the hours that are involved in just putting something like this together. But with DOLA coming out, this would normally be something around a $25,000 project. Hopefully, if we get the grant that Jennifer's working on right now, it'll cost the city $6,000. So that would, hopefully will qualify for that, but that just gives an example. I said, Jennifer, hey, I want us to go after this grant, do that. She's like, sure, boom, and off and working on it. So just as you would with a staff member here as well. So good. I'm glad, and they will be glad, and I'm happy to have them continuing with us. The last item that we have is a appointment for Dennis Callahan to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there anything that we need to say about that, Andrew, before the meeting?
No, I don't think so. Dennis is hopefully gonna be here tonight. Hopefully he can make it. If not, we interviewed him at a staff level. He's met with the Planning Commission. Had a lot of great conversations with him. He's a resident up on the hill. And yeah, just excited to have another commissioner. We've had some changeovers, obviously, with the election and with some other commissioners. So glad somebody's interested.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've had some longtime folks that stepped down recently, so some big shoes to fill. Okay, good.
On that one, Devin.
Yes, please.
In the minutes, there was a comment about, there was a conflict or maybe disclosing a possible conflict with him and, Laura, is that?
Yes, so he is married to Laura Callahan, who is a current planning commissioner. We discussed it at a staff level though, and there doesn't appear to be much of a conflict, but yeah.
I just feel it should be disclosed though.
I agree. I think on some things, if you have quasi judicial matters or things that come from front of and if it's any type of a question, then there should be disclosures. Yeah, I think it will be fine operating. I mean, it is not unusual for smaller municipalities, smaller towns and stuff to have folks that are married or related or somebody, but you know, it's just, you wouldn't be able to fill committees and things if you said, oh, no, you know, no one that you're related to by blood can serve for the city at all. You know, so, it's a fairly common practice, but we gotta make sure we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's and disclosing that for people so they're aware of it. Perfect. Okay, good. Any other questions about any of the items that are on our agenda for this evening? Okay. I will go over, let me see, Mayor, if it's okay, I can do my manager's report and go over some items with that. Okay. We did Joe bond refunding. Okay. So I sent council an email, and this is about our events coordinator contract, and I don't know if I grabbed it or not here. Did everybody get a chance to see that email?
When did you send it?
Huh?
When did you send it? Cause I think I may have missed it.
Oh, you know, you responded to it, so I know you saw it.
Okay.
It was last week. I don't know the day exactly, but I know that you, cause you had that question. You sent
Oh,
me
I
a
got it.
question.
Yes.
That's
yes.
the one I'm talking about, Jay. Yeah,
Yeah, that,
yeah. So what, this is in relation to the direction that I received from council at the last meeting to look at alternatives for the event coordinator position with that contract. What I had, and I'll just kind of walk you through how this all evolved. I was going to recommend to council that we do a request for proposals on this and issue an RFP, because we haven't put out an RFP on this particular contract, I think since 2012 or 2013. It's been a little while. And generally, on most of your contracts, you don't want to let them necessarily go that long before you know, best practices is to put those out for bid or consideration on a much more timely schedule than say 12 or 13 years. But that being said, I was going to look at doing that. And my first call actually was discussing that was with the mayor. and talked it over with the mayor and what her input on that approach would be. And then my next call was to Jean. And talked to Jean and said, hey, this is what I'm looking at doing and it would be an RFP. She's done it before. When we did it in 12 or 13, she submitted for that one. I think we had like 2 others that weren't terribly responsive and we ended up going with Jean after that RFP. And she held the current contract at the time.
Was that at the beginning of the year? Sorry, correct.
That's okay.
Was that at the beginning of the year? Do you remember when that was? Yeah,
When we issued that one in 2012?
yeah, like at the end of the year, or the beginning of the year, I'm just like wondering like time, you know.
Oh, gosh, I don't remember what time. I really don't remember anything. I'm sorry.
No problem.
What time of the year that was. My guess is it would have been close to the beginning of the year, it would have been after Sheridan Celebrates. And she did her thing, then we were looking at doing it, and I think I received direction at the time from the council and said, hey, you know, it had probably been 4 or 5 years or something, or 6 or 7, I don't remember how many years it had been, since we had issued one at that point. And the council's like, yes, let's put one out, so we put one out, and that was, but exactly what the time frame is, I can look and find out, but I don't recall. I do, no worries. So I was explaining, going over all this with Jean, and Jean said, hey, look, wait, I have an idea. Let me run this by you and see what you think. And her idea was to look at this year as being a transition year and look at, because what she informed me was that she said, look, I turned 65 on Sheridan Celebrates Day last year and have been thinking about stepping down either after this year or the next year, somewhere in there. He said, this would probably be a perfect opportunity then to look at making this my last year. I can transition out. You can bring somebody new in. I can work with that new person or firm or whoever, however that might work, to kind of show them the ropes, see what we do here. And they have been the benefit of working with her to see the ins and outs of Sheridan and how we do events. And I said, Jean, you know, I think that is a fantastic idea. I think that accomplishes, is a nice kind of in between with allowing Jean an opportunity to work through an exit plan and the city to bring on somebody new with new ideas and new ways of doing things. And when I put on my city manager hat, I go, I don't have to worry about losing time or shortchanging events because we're doing an RFP and I might have to switch vendors and there's going to be a learning curve and all of that kind of thing. Because oftentimes when you go through this thing, yeah, you're going to feel it a little bit. There could be some growing pains when you bring in somebody new, right? So I said, hey, you know what, Jean, let me call the mayor. I called the mayor back and this is all these conversations with me. She liked the idea of it. And I said, all right, well, if the two of you are comfortable, then I would bring that to the council to make sure that the council is comfortable with that type of an approach. I sent the email out to everybody. I got some good questions back from folks. And one thing that I do need to clarify, I need to clarify that was not in the email, and Jean, and I copied Jean on the email. Everything has been very upfront. I've been very transparent and included Jean in all of these discussions. Was that, I think in my email, I said, well, we would do like a final handoff to the new person after Sheridan Celebrates, but there are some other events that are after Sheridan Celebrates. So what it would, yeah. So the intent, and Jean pointed that out too, and I was like, that was my bad. I was fixated on Sheridan Celebrates. I think it's just an end date. So it would be, basically, she would complete her contract. And that would be all the events for next year. And then we would transition to the new person after we've gone through that round of events that are part of this year's contract. So that's where we are. If there are no objections, and I will remind council, and I think you guys know this, that this is not a contracted position that reports to the city council. It reports to the city manager. It does extensive work with the Sheridan Celebrates committee and with a lot of council contact. But it's the same as when we have a contract with any of the other things like that, and I administer that contract on your behalf. However, the process I would want to do on this would be, and I don't know, it'd probably be more like an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications rather than an RFP for proposals, because we're gonna be looking at a transition here. So you're putting out a request to see who's interested and what qualifications might they have. Vet those people, vet them with staff, vet them with the Sheridan Celebrates Committee, and get those people an opportunity to. And then come back with a recommendation and saying, okay, this is the person we'd like to select and transition into the next thing. So that is a very quick and high level look at what my plan is.
Good.
Questions, comments, concerns, suggestions?
No, happen if you don't find somebody that's qualified, what happens then?
Yeah, the one option, I mean, just off the top of my head, one option would be that, I mean, if you couldn't find anybody, then you would, well, I'd want to look at Gene.
You have to look at.
I would have to, another thing I could look at doing is I could look at turning this into a part-time FTE in-house position with the city that might make it more attractive. You can do benefits with it and things like that. So that would be a consideration I would look at. I've already thought about that might be an option. I'm not ruling that out either. We've got enough events and things now that you might be able to do like a half-time FTE on this. You reissue, so you can, sometimes you might not get people because it just didn't reach people. You reissue, you try again, you go out and look to do that. But that, yeah, that happens. It sometimes does happen that you don't find the people that you want. Worst case scenario is we don't have anybody to do it. That's worst case scenario, right? As Gene says, no, I'm done. And we didn't get anybody that.
We may be
Can
burnt
do
on
it.
bridges, but, well, one thing, yeah, I feel like I need to say is I may have a little bit, closer insight into Jean's thinking on her processes and stuff, but I've spoken with her recently about this subject, but with the request for pricing, she felt that it would be taken away from her job now, and taken away from the people in the city of Sheridan and taken away from Sheridan Celebrates for her to prioritize the RFP over, the work that she needed to be doing or getting started already. And so, it felt like maybe she felt a little railroaded into that and offered up, a replacement, training replacement when she may not have been completely ready for that because she felt like, she was getting booted out the door, And so, I just feel like, from my outside perspective, she may have felt railroaded into being forced retirement and, I felt like her events were good last year. I didn't have any complaints about it. She's pretty tied in with the community and all these events that we're having, but I'm not saying one way or the other. I just don't want it to be like, a bad mark on Jean Ray and her service, over her years of the city. So that's basically all I had on that. I felt like, we kind of forced, her into wanting, offering to retire when that may not have been her initial intention.
Thanks for saying that.
Yeah, thank you.
Because I was a little surprised that was the way to go, because I thought she was all in on it. We have to go upstairs for.
I think she still is,
Yeah,
yeah.
just a couple
I think
minutes,
she
yeah.
still is.
I don't.
But, I mean,
Well, that wasn't, I appreciate that.
They can't
because
start.
that was not communicated to me at all. She came forward with this. I mean, I'm bringing this to the council
I know.
at her request, basically.
Which is like, why it feels like we're all just like,
Well, because I asked her, I said, I asked
Two
her,
of us that had nothing to do with it.
yeah, so I talked to her, told her what I was gonna do tonight. Told her that I would communicate this to council, get any feedback, and she's like, well, and I asked her, I think, do you want to speak or say anything? She's like, I don't think we need to. As long as the council's on board, she's like, this is my suggestion. I'm on board with it. You guys are asking me for my professional opinion on how to move forward. To me, I can't think of a much better way right now. With understanding
That's what you're
exactly what
saying.
you're saying, but there is, and I look at it from my perspective, there is division on council on this. There has been, direction from both ways on this. And this is a process, I feel, that kind of moves us forward while addressing all of those issues that we have there. And like I said, and as I pointed out, put my city council hat on, or my city manager hat on, this is a very efficient, effective way to go. I'll pay a little bit more money, but I know the events are gonna happen. I know there's not gonna be a horrible crash and no service happen. I think, you know what I'm saying?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, okay, with that said, I'm going really fast because we gotta wrap up here. Gene and I have a meeting set for Wednesday or Thursday, I have to go look, of this week, and we're gonna start drafting out a transition. Okay, and what that looks like, and then we'll share that with you guys, after we've gone over it. And then I'll come up with part of that transition. Well, part of that transition plan will be like, this will be the schedule for bringing in, for doing an RFQ, for bringing in somebody else. What are the key milestones that that person or firm, whoever it is, needs to be plugged in and about, you know, so
Yes,
we're gonna do all that.
here's an issue. I don't necessarily want city council getting down into the.
Oh, no, I'm not gonna bring it to you guys for approval. I'm just gonna run it by you guys and you can see it. Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
have a vote on it. Let's have a vote on it. Why didn't we vote on that?
Because that's not a contract that the council votes on.
Right, no, we don't have any say in it one way or the other,
Yeah.
and I don't necessarily want city council to get into the weeds of your job.
I will no. And I'm just gonna be notifying you guys, hey, here's the transition plan, here's what it looks
Thank you.
like, right? Just to
Yeah.
do that so
Just,
that you're
I-
informed of it.
Here's what's
Absolutely,
happening. Yeah,
absolutely.
thank you.
Smart.
Yeah.
The first contract was signed on May 9th, 2012.
So it was, we probably did it in February or March then, April, May.
So it was
That would've been-
for March or May 1st to December 31st.
But we did the RFP before that then, so we were
Yeah.
early in the year.
But yeah, the first contract was signed on May 9th.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like-
And the last thing we have really quick, I'll do those two and then Mary going. City council retreat. Mayor, did you want to talk during mayor's choice at that tonight?
I can, yeah.
Or I can chat a little bit more during my manager's report upstairs too.
I can too. I just know that plan, well, Ernie knows about these and so does Des because they've done it with the school district.
Yeah, yeah.
Is to go, maybe down to like Colorado Springs where you're actually committed to going and doing the work and do some work with CML, do some ethics work with the lawyers, do some, goal setting for this council and go out to dinner, so we can get to know one another, and, create a cohesive team.
Yeah.
So that's my plan and
So just,
we're working on it.
yeah, we're looking
So
at
be ready.
potential venues, dates, all that kind of stuff in set
That'll
up
be
a
fun.
retreat.
Yeah, we've done it before. Well, Juanita has, Danny has, and you guys got to go along and have dinner, so.
For everybody online, just stay online. We're just transitioning upstairs and then we will continue up there, but don't leave the meeting space.
All right, fine. I met the police officer.
Remember your stuff.
Yeah, so,
You know what, if
Do we wait till the end?
No, after they vote on your stuff.
Oh, so
you're
they will
free
vote
to-
immediately. They don't like vote at the end of the meeting.
Correct,
Okay,
right.
so our thing is handled.
Yep,
then
once
we
it's
just-
either passed or not passed,
Okay.
then you're free to go.
Yeah, sure, sounds good. Thanks, Nathan.
Uh-huh.
Which is not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I'll make sure he knows it.
I'll do it again if you have the chance.
And we'll, Jay, we'll set that up.
Okay.
Looking to land that. Yeah, you should, already started, already. So, well, yeah, that's good.
So there's usually agendas up there. So we're after, so they're gonna do like the staff reports, the minutes, consent agenda, and then the public hearing is for us.
Oh, okay, perfect. Sounds good.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, and Ryan. Yeah. Reagan is over there.
Yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Rick, sign in. Is that the sign in sheet?
Yeah.
Oh, just, Somerville. Get the little thing down out there.
And no water, but.
Where do you go to school?
I went to Mike's to watch.
Did you?
Yeah, I had pancakes, chicken, fried chicken. Mike's is awesome. It's incredible. Been going there since like when it was Sonic. Eating there a lot.
Just a reminder that your meeting software is up if you want to go and get logged in. Nope.
Oh. No, it just kicked me out. Oh. It's not connected to the internet.
That's just to fix yours too. Mine too.
Yep.
They changed their. Maybe we could get going. Be in trouble with it.
I'm trying to see what's.
This one.
I just shared it. Gotcha.
Okay.
Cool. Else connected? Yep.
Cool. Everybody ready? Okay, we'll go ahead and I will call the January 12th, 2026 regular meeting of the City Council to order at 7:10 PM. Go ahead and everyone is present, yes?
Yep, just go ahead and log in on your device.
Everyone logged in? We're good to go. We're here. All council members are present. We'll go ahead and start with the invocation. Will you please stand and join me for the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Father, with humble hearts we begin this meeting, acknowledging our need for you. Particularly, we acknowledge our need for renewal. Please renew our hearts and minds in service to our community. We confess that we can become stagnant and comfortable in our ways. We ask for your Holy Spirit to challenge us, convict us, and guide us towards growth and transformation. As we discuss important matters today, may we seek your will above all else. Help us to align our thoughts and actions with your perfect plan for our lives. In Psalm 51:10, you say, "Create in me a pure heart, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me." We pray for this renewal, not just in our personal lives, but also in our work and relationships. We trust that you are faithful to complete the good work you have begun in us. May we surrender ourselves fully to your will and eagerly embrace the changes and challenges that come with renewal. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we have the agenda approval. City Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Next, we have staff reports. Start with
Thank you.
City Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one item tonight. You all are invited to the grand opening of Third Shot Pickleball. It'll be this Saturday, January 17th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. The ribbon cutting will be towards the beginning of the ceremony or the openings or the grand opening. So if you could join them for that, they would love to have you. And that is over in River Point. So make sure to check it out. They do have free pickleball all day from 7 to 9 p.m. So if you want to play some pickleball, get your reservation signed up and you can join them for the day. And that is all I have, but happy to answer any questions.
Next up, our city attorney.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just one quick update for the city council. There was a recent Colorado Supreme Court decision which impacted the ability of municipalities to do fines that are different from the state if there are similar charges. And so this impacts us in being able to have new and creative ways to charge municipal offenses. And so it's generally opposed by cities. Things like retail theft, which is a major problem. Sometimes cities do creative solutions for that rather than what the state charges as a felony or a misdemeanor. Because of this case, we are no longer charged anything different. So I was willing to know that the municipal judge already addressed this through a standing order, and so we don't have to do anything right now. But it may impact the way we do things in municipal court a little bit. So if you hear anything about things that are different and how we're charging certain crimes, that's probably has something to do with it. And so if you have any questions about that, just please let me know. But I wanted to give you that update.
Next, Devin, city manager, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items to add from the items that we already discussed at our work session. One note, City Hall will be closed on this coming Monday, January 19th for celebration of Martin Luther King Day. So that's a week from today. And then something for council's calendar, and we'll have a little bit more information on this shortly. Sheridan will be hosting the Tri-Cities Joint Council meeting. So as council will recall, the city councils for Sheridan, Littleton, and Inglewood all get together once per year, at least once, and have a big dinner and talk about a whole bunch of different items. And it's the Tri-Cities Joint City Council meeting. That will be again on Thursday, February 5th. We are hosting, I'm just not sure where we're hosting it yet. And it'll probably start around 5:36, but I'll have more details for you very shortly. But reserve the evening of Thursday, February 5th for the Tri-Cities Joint Council meeting. That's all right now, Mayor, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Chief.
Happy 2026. First time we get to see you. So just a quick outlook on 2026, couple things. Thanks to the city manager. We are real close to getting our crime analyst, so we will be able to get you actually some crime stats and start to compare our previous years to where we're at. I really think this is going to be beneficial, not only for the numbers that we can present to you that will be factual, but it will also help us find out if there's a certain area. And we do a pretty good job knowing where crime's taking place, but this will give us numbers, so it's another way to address those type of things. So once I start getting those to you, if there's something different you would like to see a little less often, more often, we'll have somebody that is going to be working with us part-time. And when I say part-time, we're talking about 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours a week. But that should be more than enough to get us what we're going to need. So I'm really excited about that. Too bad, I know Mayor Beiderfluer really asked me for those several times and I let her down. So hopefully she'll get those through you all, or we can send them to her. So that's something that's exciting. Our end of year, we had unusual increase in some violence that we normally don't have. Our investigators did some fantastic work. So I'm really proud of the work that they did to solve some some crimes that normally don't happen here. So that has me concerned, but it's not something like that we're lacking or something that we're not doing. It's just somebody's happened to travel through Sheridan and incident happens and it takes place in our city. So I don't think there's anything to be immediately aware of, like something we need to do different. It's just unusual. We had heavier load than we normally have with those type of things. The other thing that kind of worries me about that, but I'm sure we'll overcome it, is right now we're short-staffed. We're down about 5 officers, which is quite a few for us. Every police department's still struggling with trying to get the right people. We have a lot of people that are applying. We look at them. There's even some that we offer a conditional job offer. Then we go through their background check, and it's very intensive. And it's very thorough, and we've had to turn people away. So we are working on that, and we'll do our best to hire the best people that keep our city safe, and we'll do our best with that. That should be hopefully taking a positive turn in the very near future. I'm just confident we will successfully be able to continue to keep Sheridan safe, the city that we're very safe here. And a lot of that is thanks to the structure that we have from all of you, our city manager, the partnerships we have with our city attorney, everybody that helps us with our law enforcement. It really is helpful, because that is the thing that helped us attract some people that are serving with us that may have chosen to go somewhere else. So our pay is relatively competitive. We're not the highest paid. There's people paying crazy money right now because everybody's trying to attract people. But I don't think that's the problem. We don't need to look at immediately raising that. We're doing a very good job at that. I just want to start out the year saying we got some really good things coming up. We're working on some things that we'll improve on, and it's going to be a great year. So thanks again for your support. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I do have an update on behalf of our community engagement manager. She is requesting that you all stick around for just a moment after council so she can get some video footage of each of you. So if you don't mind sticking around for just a moment.
Okay. It'll be late. Okay, thank you. Thank you, all of you. Next, we have the approval of the minutes. Minutes of the regular city council meeting of December 8th, 2025. Are there any questions on the minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor, you have a motion on the board from Councilmember Stang and is seconded by Councilmember Camacho.
Thank you. We can go ahead, or there's no questions, no discussion. We can go ahead and vote. Okay. There we go. And that passes by majority. Next, we have the consent agenda, authorized disbursements that have been or will be made from December 1st, 2025 and December 15th, 2025 in the amount of $1,496,262.02 per the referenced and authorized disbursements that have been or will be made from December 16th, 2025 to December 31st, 2025 in the amount of $1,263,442.06 per the referenced and attached transfer of funds. Are there any questions on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we have a motion from Councilman Moreno and a second from Councilman Whitaker. There's no questions. We can go ahead and vote. That also passes by majority, 7. Next we have to take a drink of water because I have to read a whole lot of stuff. Next, we have a public hearing to review an application for a conditional use permit at 2755 West Hampton Avenue, which would allow a motor vehicle service facility to operate on that property. I would like to call this public hearing to order at the time of 19:21 or 7:21 p.m. For the record, my name is Sally Daigle, and I am the mayor of the city of Sheridan, and I will be presiding over this hearing. Tonight, we'll review an application for a conditional use permit at 2755 West Hampton Avenue, which would allow a motor vehicle service facility to operate on that property. Prior to commencing this evening's proceedings, are there any disclosures or recusals that need to be stated for this hearing?
Yes, I need to be removed because I was on that commission and I'm gonna step away from the table.
Thank you. Is the applicant or representative of the applicant present? Please come up to the microphone and identify yourself, your business name, and address for the record. If you are represented by legal counsel, please have your legal counsel also identify themselves for the record.
All right. My name is Ryan Segovia. I work for Mavi Unlimited real estate brokerage. I'm the listing agent for the property. I've been involved with the property for 2 years now, and I'm here to represent. I'm the applicant for the conditional use permit, but the actual business is sitting next to me. That's Dungeon Motors. So they would be receiving the permit, but I've been the one working through the process.
Okay. Do you want to step up and give your name too? Just for the record?
My name is Harvey Scott Bennett, and
Nice to
currently
meet you.
nice to meet you guys. I'm currently the owner of Midtown Automotive. We've been in business for over 72 years, 3rd generation family operated and owned.
I was gonna say, wow, you started when you were what?
I've
Before you?
taken a lot of vitamins, work out regularly.
And I'm Liz Caswell, and I guess in charge of Duntroon's business affairs.
Thank you. The purpose of this hearing is for the city council to receive information, data, and testimony for the city council to make findings and reach a conclusion to approve or deny this conditional use permit application. The hearing procedure we will use as guidance but not be strictly governed by is the Colorado Rules of Civil Procedure. All interested parties will be allowed to speak. On this matter, we will first hear from City Planner Nathan Rasmussen, followed by a presentation from the applicant. The council may ask questions of staff and the applicant following their respective presentations. We will then hear public comments followed by any response of the applicant. At this time, I will enter the following exhibits into the record. Exhibit A, staff report, which includes the following documents. 1, land use case processing application. 2, letter of authorization. 3, project narrative. 4, site photos. 5, sketch plan, ILC. 6, property owners within 300 feet map and list. 7, mailed notice with affidavit of mailing. 8 is the affidavit of publication. 9 is proof of posting with affidavit of posting to be provided on night of hearing, which is tonight. 10, the PZ resolution 8-2025. 11 is the planning commission minutes. Is the city ready to begin? Nathan, please.
Yes, Mayor.
And Mayor and Nathan, if I can interrupt for just a second before you get started on that, I just want to clarify for the record and for the folks here tonight, the reason that Council Member Clark had to recuse himself is that he was a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission when this first came before the city. He voted on it as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Then he got elected to the city council, so he doesn't get to vote twice on this. So he had to go recuse himself, just to be clear for everybody. All right, thank you, Mayor.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. This is conditional use permit PLN 25-1350 for 2755 West Hampton Avenue. The applicant is Ryan Segovia representing Sheldon McMillian and Duntroon Motors, with the owner of the property being Sheldon McMillian. The request is to approve a conditional use permit to operate a motor vehicle service facility at the 2755 West Hampton Avenue address. And the process of Chapter 56 in Sheridan Municipal Code on conditional use applications was followed, which goes through sections 56-542, 3, 4, and 5, which requires the submittal of a complete application and review by both Planning Commission and City Council. Public notification followed the process established in section 56-544A. A little bit of background on the project. The subject property is a single tenant attached commercial building located at 2755 West Hampton and is owned by Sheldon McMillian. At the time the conditional use permit application was submitted, the property was owned by Stewart Acquisitions LLC. It has since been purchased by Mr. McMillian. The prospective tenant, Duntroon Motors, is looking to relocate their business to 2755 and seeks the approval of a conditional use permit to allow for a motor vehicle service facility at this location. The owner of Duntroon Motors, Scott Bennett, also intends to purchase the property from Mr. McMillian upon the approval of the conditional use permit, should that happen. So the section of Hampton Avenue before Highway 285 was built was part of the now decommissioned Colorado Highway 70 corridor, which is like the origin of its auto-oriented nature. Most recently, the commercial structure was used as a motor vehicle a motor vehicle repair facility, and I'll get into the differences there in a minute. That had been in operation prior to the 2009 code update. The previous non-conforming use was identified as having been abandoned per section 56-564. Under zoning and land use, the property is zoned commercial, which is COM-C. The intent of the COM-C district, according to section 56231, is to provide for the location of auto-oriented and auto-dependent uses and/or uses which provide a wide range of general retail goods and services for residents of the entire community, as well as businesses and highway users, primarily inside of enclosed structures. The current zoning lists motor service vehicle facilities as conditionally permitted use. The motor vehicle service facility is defined as a facility for the retail sale of gasoline and or other petroleum products and/or where light motor vehicle maintenance activities such as engine tune-ups, lubrication, replacement of individual engine parts, tire sales, installation, repair, etc., or small minor repairs are conducted. Such facilities shall not involve motor vehicle repair or painting or repair activities that generally require greater than 1 day to perform. And that's kind of the difference between the two. The motor vehicle service facility parking requirement is the same as whether it's service or repair. So it's one space per 300 square feet of building area. Currently, the on-site parking does not meet the requirement in the code, but it is considered legally non-conforming as it was developed for the current code requirement. And modification of the existing parking area is not a requirement of the conditional use permit, as changes to the site have not been proposed. However, should future site development occur, the property would no longer be legally non-conforming and the quantity of parking required would need to increase to comply with the municipal code requirement as it is. Parking and other dimensional nonconformances such as setbacks and open space would be enforced during any future administrative site review processes. And this is a condition of the approval that's part of the conditions in the conditional use. To clear up any confusion, and I just want to double back to this, the motor vehicle repair facility use is defined separately in the code in the business light industrial code section as including vehicle painting, auto body repair, repairs that generally require more than 1 day, and provided that motor vehicle repair facilities should not be allowed on lots abutting Federal Boulevard. That is neither permitted nor conditional use in the COM-C zone district and is not being reviewed for in this conditional use application. So moving on to adjacent uses, the north side of Hampton Avenue between Clay and Dale contains the only properties within the 5-block segment between Alcott and where Decatur Street would be, which are Zone COM-C. All other properties in that same corridor are Business 1, which is a lower intensity zone district than COM-C. Business 1 does not permit the motor vehicle service facility as either a use by right or a conditional use. So this is kind of like a special block in that area where the conditional use is even permitted. So for adjacent uses direct, north is a private residence, which is also a non-conforming use that is Zone COM-C but used as residential. To the south across Hampton is an optical lab, which is Zone Business 1. To the west is a plumbing business that's also Zone Business 1. And to the east is motor vehicle repair facility uses. They're non-conforming uses that were there prior to the code amendments, but they are Zone COM-C. Next, compliance with the City of Sheridan's 2015 comprehensive plan. If you look in your staff report, there's a map section that shows the future land use map from the comprehensive plan, identifying the location of the property in the Golden Hill neighborhood as residential, with mixed-use development becoming the predominant use on the opposite side of Hampton. Additionally, the 2015 comprehensive plan outlines several goals for the future development of this part of Hampton in Goat Hill, as one such goal being restoring Old Hampton between Federal and Zuni to its previous role as an economic hub and gathering place of the Goat Hill neighborhood and northern Sheridan. And that is goal NH1 in the comp plan. So for a conditional use review criteria, and I'm going to try to keep this short and only focus on the important ones, it did meet all the requirements A through J, but I just want to kind of highlight some of the ones that are more impactful here. So compatibility with the surrounding area. The properties surrounding the business are similar in use to the proposed motor vehicle service facility. There is a motor vehicle repair facility 1 block west and a non-conforming repair facility next door to the east. There are multiple additional automotive related businesses in the area. A single family home is situated directly to the north, which I mentioned. However, it is also non-conforming. Item C, whether there exists a need for the proposed use. Before the previous use was abandoned, a motor vehicle repair facility had operated at the site for more than 40 years, as you'll hear from the applicant. The building was purpose-built for that now non-conforming use. The current owner has received a large amount of interest from the motor vehicle repair businesses looking to relocate there, but they have had to turn down prospective tenants due to the repair use no longer being permitted either by right or conditionally. Business associated with this conditional use permit application could utilize the building as is and meets the definition of a motor vehicle service facility, which is conditional use identified here. Item D, the effect of the proposed use upon future land uses or the development of the immediate area. As this business would occupy an existing structure, impacts on the immediate area will be minimal. The site is not being expanded or redeveloped. Item F, whether the existing and proposed streets are suitable and adequate to carry the anticipated traffic within the development. Proposal in its surrounding vicinity and traffic in the area is not expected to increase significantly from the presence of the business. And then lastly, item J, whether the proposed use will conform with or further the goals, policies, and strategies set forth in the city's comprehensive plan. The proposed use makes progress towards the 2015 comp plan's growth and development goal for business recruitment, retention, and expansion, stating that the city should explore opportunities to diversify the local economy by recruiting desirable new businesses Sheridan that bring living wage jobs to Sheridan residents while encouraging an environment where existing businesses thrive. Specifically, Objective CG 2.3 calls for the stimulation of the local economy by addressing the issue of empty storefronts citywide. And that is goal CG 2. So for referral agency and department comments, staff referred the conditional use application to the agencies listed in your report. We received no conflict and no opposition responses from Denver Fire, Sheridan Sanitation No. 2, Excel Energy, and CenturyLink, and we did not receive responses from internal city departments or Denver Water. Public notification. Public notice is not a requirement or was not for the Planning Commission to review and make recommendations to City Council for conditional use permits. However, a hearing was held by the Planning Commission, and the the item was voted on. And notice regarding a city council public hearing on the matter was required and has been conducted as outlined in this Sheridan Municipal Code. And for the planning commission hearing, the hearing was conducted on November 5th. The minutes of the meeting are attached to your report, and I won't go through the details of those, but the motion did pass with 4 votes in favor and 1 dissenting, the dissenting vote being Commissioner Callahan to adopt the passing it on to you guys. Staff recommendation. So based upon the observation, staff suggests that the city council approve this conditional use permit request with the following conditions recommended by planning commission. Condition 1, the approval of a conditional use by the city shall lapse and be considered null and void if the use itself or permanent construction in conjunction with such use has not commenced within 1 year of the approving action. 2, failure to use the property for the uses authorized by such conditional use approval for a period of 12 consecutive months shall terminate the right to use the property for the specified conditional use. 3, all building and fire code requirements associated with the motor vehicle service facility use must be met prior to the issuance of a business license. 4, a development plan which brings elements of the site such as parking, open space, setbacks, etc. into compliance with Chapter 56 of the Sheridan Municipal Code will be required upon any future development or redevelopment proposed, and I mentioned that earlier. A non-conforming building may not be expanded in such a manner to increase the non-conformity, including but not limited to any new construction in violation of required setbacks or building height in the applicable zoning district. That was number 5. And 6, structural changes to a non-conforming building that have the effect of increasing the life of the non-conforming building shall not be permitted unless the building official determines that such change is necessary to rectify a hazardous condition or safety concern. And the attachments, as mentioned, as being submitted with the application, we did receive the affidavit of posting. So everything is in your packet. And with that, I ask for questions.
Council, any questions for Nathan?
What was the original conditional use, was that for the transmission shop or?
So the use that was there that lapsed and became abandoned, it was not a conditional use because the use that was there prior was, well, we would assume it was permitted by right in the zone district before the changes were made to the area. So there is no history of conditional use permits at the site.
Oh, okay.
And kind of to expand on the abandonment, so the where code is, if a use is not kept, that is a non-conforming use. If it lapses for 6 months or more, then the use is considered abandoned and no longer permitted as kind of a legally non-conforming use. So use it or lose it.
Any other questions? Ernie? Oh, go ahead.
How many cars are gonna be parked in front of the building, when it opens or anything?
I don't have the answers for that, but you're sure welcome to ask the applicant that. They would have a better idea.
Okay.
No other questions from council? Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you. Oh, and Council Member Camacho, on the parking thing, I mentioned it in reading through the report, but so currently the parking does not meet the requirement. I think it's short a few spaces that's in the report, that the number. But if any site improvements were made, so expansion of the building or anything to make the non-conforming use expand, would have to be brought into the current code requirements. So any kind of like additions, or if they took down a wall or something outside, they'd have to make sure that they added enough parking to meet our current code requirements. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will hear from the applicant. And please again, identify yourself before you begin.
Hello, my name is Ryan Segovia. I work with Mavi Unlimited, and I wanted to just thank everybody for coming tonight and giving us the time that it takes to work through this. So really appreciate you guys here. So we did produce a little bit of a slide deck. So I do apologize if there's some redundancies here. Obviously, Nathan worked really hard on putting his together. So I might kind of skip through some of our slides if it feels like it was already mentioned. But I don't think I've ever in my life put more time and effort into any project or building. So I actually started working with this project in October of 23.
Oh, wow.
And I have not taken a step back since then. So I can kind of walk you through a little bit of history and give you some insight into what has transpired and why we are here instead of just continuing use. So at 2755, it started off as like a gas station, Huey's service station way back when, and then it became the OK Tire Store. They did recapping. So if anybody knows what recapping is, you take like a semi-truck tire and then you just put a new cap on it instead of replacing the tire. Well, during that time, it was all the buildings and it wasn't parceled out. So all of the power comes straight into 2755. It's 2,000 amps of three-phase power, which was needed for that capping facility. And it was a giant industrial building for many, many years. Well, in the 80s, the guy who owned it decided to parcel them out. So there's not an HOA. There's no shared community there. It is actually 3 parcels, but there is a shared wall and shared power. So it created a complicated, unique scenario in that part of the town. So with that being said, after that, parceled out, it became S&A Transmission, and then K-Motion Auto Service. Then there's a chair rental next door. So when I met Shell for the selling of S&A Transmission, we sold it to a transmission shop that was going to continue the use. He then had complications getting out of his old building, which then put him into the landlord state, and he put me on the task of finding a tenant for the property. Rico, which you'll see on the top, signed a 5-year lease. They didn't make it 6 months. And then they squatted for 6 months. And this is when our conflict became a conflict with the zoning. So I did not know that they mailed you guys a letter telling you that they are going to vacate their business. We didn't do anything with the property until we got them out of the property. And those 6 months of them squatting is when I walked into the city hall and found out that we lost our non-conforming use. So 20 days after our 6 months expiration is when I discovered that we lost that. So we did get them out. There's still 2 cars sitting in the parking lot that belong to them. But I then met Nathan and we went through the process of just getting a conditional use permit. At that point, we quit trying to lease it, started to just sell it. We marketed it in every way you guys recommended based off of your code. So actually I might, let's see. I'm kind of skipping the local area use because Nathan really killed that one. So let's see, like he really let you guys know what the neighbors are. This is a list for you though, kind of just itemized what the neighbors look like. So we can go to the next slide. It's just a visual. So K-Motion, let me talk about K-Motion for a second. I also was the listing agent for that property. They just sold the business only. They signed a 10-year lease with a 10-year option. So that automotive shop is not going anywhere. And that is a shared wall with 2755. So keep going. Just a more visual of the surrounding neighborhoods. Keep going. All right, so this is where I got to the marketing part. So we understood what the planning commission wanted. So, and the beauty of AI is I could rewrite this listing every 15 days and advertise it to a new audience. I can advertise it to construction workers, to office, to warehouse, to everybody. It is a very purpose-built building. It is a very funky building. It has different ceiling heights. It has 11 different rooms. It has doors that don't necessarily connect, but then they do. There's ramps. You can't move a forklift from one end of the building to the other. You can't move a truck from one end to the other building. You have to be on Dale Court or Hampton Avenue. It was built for automotive. It was just, that's how it was designed. It was built to bring cars in, move lifts. In 1995, they did a large addition to build, to bring in bigger vehicles on the left side. So purpose built, I tried bringing in all of those wanted buyers, and every buyer that came to the table was an automotive use. I will just add this little note. 90% if not more, wanted body shop use because of the square footage. 14,000 square feet is a very large building, and they would have loved to have had body shop use and keep a bunch of cars in there. That was my first meeting, and that got shut down. I was told absolutely not, there's not going to be body shop use. So then we backtracked off of rezoning and just said, okay, how are we going to get somebody into this building? We went through an auction process. We ran 2 auctions, and nobody would pull the trigger because of the zoning, which an auction, once you buy it, it's yours. So they don't have this luxury of going through this process. They own it at that point. So we did find a buyer, a very patient buyer, Dundren Motors. But the whole process is going to have to come to fruition for them to purchase this property. So after tonight, we will actually kind of start off the purchase of the building from that point forward. But we do have our ducks in a row for that. We can move on. Kind of told you that we went through all these uses, but I did list them for you. I mean, some of these are kind of silly for what this building could be used for. You know, medical and dental offices, absolutely not. Animal hospitals, daycare centers, amusement and recreation. I mean, we pretty much crossed off 9 or 10 of these without even anybody considering it. Retail greenhouses. I mean, we basically had to go straight to the conditional use permits to get the right user. So we can keep going. I think you get one more slide of proposed uses. Like the restaurant, food, that kind of thing that was proposed. And I want to kind of hit on that because that was a huge part of this comprehensive plan of like, what could this neighborhood look like? With the power scenario and the shared services, this would be an astronomical investment. I mean, somebody would have to buy all 3 buildings and start from scratch. That would be a $5-10 million project to find a way to, and what Nathan was talking about, any change to the building at all, now you have to update the parking and the setbacks and everything. I mean, we're lucky to get out this building. I mean, from the debt that it's in, let alone a $4 million investor who's going to tear it down and then redistribute the power. I think we got a bid, and this is no exaggeration. This is 20 years ago. It was $450,000 to separate the power. So we don't even know what it would cost today. But it's a complicated building. We understood that. So we're trying to just work through the avenues that we are dealing with. So as far as the restaurants and bars and that kind of stuff goes, in the parking, I think we would need 6 times more parking than is even capable of putting on the lot. So we really ran into some conflicts trying to purpose this building with the comprehensive plan. So wanting you guys to know that we tried really hard to sell this building to somebody other than automotive, and we had to look really hard to find the right fit. Let's see. Talked about all of that. I think we're good. You're going to see some pictures here. This is the power. I mean, that is a mind-blowing power, but you can see the 5 meters inside. So you actually have to read the meters and charge the neighbors for their power. There's only one bill that shows up at these 3 locations. So
Wow.
Interesting, but it's been functional. These are just some showings of like these small little compartmentalized rooms. You know what I mean? This is a couple of those little rooms. This is the long one with 7 lifts in it, perfectly built for automotive use. They come in, they pull in, they go right back out. This is those 2 big lifts that were built in 95. That's probably one of the nicest parts of the building. It's you can fit a whole school bus in there and close the door. So very well built for the purpose. They didn't really build it for anything else. You know what I mean? This is the back part that does not connect. So you would have to leave the door here, go on to Dale Court, and then drive around the front. So it really screws up the warehousing and freight. Any material handling of any sort, this complicates that because of the access back and forth. I want to introduce you to the people that will be operating the business. They can then tell you kind of the niche that we've found. I want you guys to know what K-Motion is because I did have a lot to do with selling that business. They are a general automotive repair facility. Their goal is to fix as many cars, make, model, year, doesn't matter, and it's as many a day as possible. They're responsible for 90% of the cars you see out in front of it right now. They're doing actually a little bit of favor, making it look like it's not vacant. So, but that is not what we wanted. We did not want that same style of business moving in next door. That seemed like it would be a huge conflict for that scenario, the parking, and for just the vibe of that whole area, it seemed almost like it would create friction, and we were trying to avoid the friction. So we found Duntron Motors, and I would like you guys to hear it from their mouths. So thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hi, my name's Harvey Scott Bennett. You guys know, I just was talking about my family's business for 3 generations. My grandfather started one of the first, if not the first, Volkswagen repair shop in Colorado back in the early 50s. It was called Straightaway Motors back then. It was on 7th and Lincoln. My uncles got back from Vietnam in 69, and they started the shop that I'm at now. Currently, it was Midtown Automotive. And we've been there since 1969 in Denver. We had 2 facilities going, repair, maintenance facility, and then there was engine building going on in the other facility that we're doing 500 engine rebuilds at a time for all the air-cooled VWs, which are now not that many around. So, but as I grew up in the shop that we're at since I was in diapers, walking around the shop and being part of the family, and that's all I've ever known and done was automotive repair. So by the time I was 16 years old, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go to work. And they're like, no, you're not going to be a mechanic. You're going to go do something different. You're going to go to business school. So I went to business school for a couple months, and I'm like, this is not me. I got to be working with my hands. I'm a mechanic. And so they made me go get my own job. So I went to work at a local Porsche shop called Storage Garage. It's been around also 50 years. And all they do is specialize in Porsches, vintage Porsches. I did that for 11 years and came back to the shop, worked for another year with the family after that, and then bought the shop from my grandparents, and they retired, and my uncles retired, and that was 28 years ago when I bought that from them. So now I'm trying to wind down my life a little bit. Going back to where my passion is, which is VW, vintage Porsche, Vanagon, Eurovan, air-cooled VW, specialty German cars is what I really love. But I've worked on everything that rolls pretty much in my life, everything from 1926 Rolls-Royce Phantoms to Jerry Seinfeld's cars for him. So I've done everything in there. I worked on Janis Joplin's Porsche before it went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I've got a lot of cool things, and I got to meet a lot of cool people. But now we're slowing down a little bit, and I have a huge following of customers that want me to work on their car. Selling the business Midtown to one of my mechanics, who's like my son. He's been with me 16 years, since he was 16 years old. And he's buying the streetcar portion of that, staying there. And I'm just taking the handful of, the people that want me to work on their vehicles, coming down here to work on them, and because it's a little too crowded down there with both of us going to downtown. So moving my little business down here and getting the opportunity to maybe buy a building, and we were never able to buy a building downtown. So we rented from our landlord down there since the 50s, so in both buildings. So as far as you were talking about car parking, we don't work on that many cars, not like K-Motion. There's cars everywhere down there. I know the owner of K-Motion. He has over 24 shops in Colorado. He's a very dedicated businessman and shop owner, but the cars we work on, the few we will work on, there's plenty of enough room there, is why we wanted the space, so we can pull the customers' cars in and get them off the parking lot. There will be no cars on the street. It'll look nice and clean, and we'll clean the building up and give it a facelift and do some flowers out in the front, some potters, out in the front, and just try to clean up that whole area there and make it very nice for everybody, make it appealing. And then the community of people that follow the vans and the Porsches and stuff, they're just a group of great people. We believe in community. We all do things together. We hang out, we do car shows and barbecue, and we have little swap meets, and people are always helping each other in that VW van community, in the VW world. So, and that's what we love. So.
You said it all.
I said it all. Well, you could say something there.
Did you want to say? You can.
No, that was all of it.
That was it?
Okay.
Well, okay.
See if there's anything.
Any questions?
Oh, so yeah, so I guess our business model is going to be different here because, like Scotty said, this is sort of a more retirement project where he's winding down, Um, his partner's taking over the hard side of the business with all the different cars. So we're going to make it by appointment only. So there's not just going to be people dropping off cars in the morning because Scotty knows all of his clients. They have his cell phone number. They call him directly. And so when they come, they want to chat with him about the trips they've been on and where they've taken their van and what's happened. And so he wants to give dedicated time to each one when he does. So it's appointment only, no cars out front at all. We do have 6 parts vans. Those parts vans will be in the north side warehouse. And they'll be inside because sourcing parts is the harder part of this business because these vehicles are older. And so you actually have to look around a little bit for them. And so we don't want them sitting out in the rain. We don't want anything to happen to them. So those parts vans that we have are very important to us. The building could use a coat of paint and we're planning to do that this summer. And so, yeah, I think Scotty said it, it's not a normal auto service shop because of the community nature of the VW van world. It's much more than that. It's different.
Yeah, it's a lifestyle. It's really a lifestyle for a lot of these people. And a lot of people are retired.
They're all retired
and they're
professionals that
starting
own
to
them.
travel around the country and go to music fests and camp and of course, any of the Porsche owners of vintage Porsches, they want to make sure they maintain them and do the maintenance on them to keep them, up to value for what they're worth. So, yeah, and we do no painting or body work. Yeah, that's not my forte. So, never been into that.
We actually had a guy doing body work until 3 years ago. He was 82 years old and he finally retired and he did the best body work. But yeah, he's gone and we're not doing any of that anymore. So.
Any questions at all?
Does council have any questions? No? Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having us. Yep, it's nice
Yeah,
meeting
thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you.
Now we're moving to public comment. Before we begin with our public comment on this application, we need to make the audience aware of the rules for commenting this evening. They are, all speakers must register to speak the sign-in sheet. All speakers must be physically present in the council chambers to provide their comments. Online comments via Zoom will not be allowed. Each speaker will be limited to no more than 2 minutes at the podium. Speakers may not yield their time to another speaker. If someone wishes to provide their comments in Spanish, they will do so continuously for up to 2 minutes, and then Andrea, our interpreter, will play the recording back for everyone to hear in English. As a reminder to the audience, the intent of public comment is for the public to provide statements to City Council to consider in making their decision. It is not to discuss their comments with the mayor and council members or to ask questions of the City Council. However, the City Council may ask speakers clarifying questions if something is unclear. Now we will begin our public comment period. Do we have any speakers? Apparently, I didn't even have to read all that.
Mayor, you can ask if anybody would like to, and we can get them signed up really quickly.
Anybody want to speak? Okay, moving on. We can go ahead and close the public hearing then. If no one has any questions on council, we're good. All right. I will now close the public hearing, time being 17:59 or 7:59 p.m. And reconvene the regular city council meeting. Let's see, I am. Okay. Call for a motion in a second, right?
Madam Mayor, I think at this time is your time to open up a discussion with council
Oh, yeah.
regarding the resolution and the approval of the application.
Right, which I thought I did,
So
but
yes, call
okay.
for the
We're
motion.
gonna open up
second.
discussion. Is there any discussion? Do you have
On
any
a personal
discussion?
note, I live right around the corner from it and I'm actually glad to see somebody using it. It's kind of been just sitting there for a while. It'd be nice to see it painted and something there, and so that's what I think.
Need help with your yard.
Wow, you just got volunteered. Anyone else would like, have anything to say? I appreciate the idea that you're very community minded and you already have a community of VW, you know, which is kind of what Sheridan is. We're just a small town and we really do enjoy community. So I appreciate that piece for sure. Anyone else? Well, this is going very quick. Now I will call for a motion in a second. And we have Councilman Whitaker, who has provided us with a motion, and Councilman Camacho with a second. And we can vote. Ah, there we go. Cast your votes.
What do I do with Christoph's? Just leave it.
Yes,
Mm.
a moment.
Okay.
Should have this.
Go.
Are we just waiting on the software?
Yeah. And it has passed by a majority of members that were allowed to vote. Thank you. We have the following related document, Resolution 4/2026, a resolution of the city.
There, that's the one we just voted on.
Mm,
You're good, just,
Oh,
yep.
You're done.
You can go
We're done.
to item number 10, items for individual consideration.
But we may want to wait for Councilman
Yeah.
Clark to come back in.
Yeah.
oh, did you? Okay, fine.
There we go.
Hey, can I ask a question? Did you read the motion?
Yeah.
I didn't read the motion. That's what I was gonna do.
Is she
But I need
supposed
to
to
read-
read it?
You started to.
So someone said the motion number at some point, right? I mean, so I think we're okay. You don't have to read the full title
Oh,
Okay,
unless it's required as part of your charter or ordinances, which I don't think yours requires. So-
thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. Thank you very much. Congratulations. And I look forward to seeing you out there with a lawnmower. It's nice meeting you. Yeah, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Thank you.
Michelle McMillan, I
Nice.
repossessed the building again.
There you go. Oh, well, thank you. Now we can move on to item number 9. Next, we have items for individual consideration. We have ordinance 19/2025. This is an ordinance on second reading. Of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, amending section 54-20 of the Sheridan Municipal Code regarding membership requirements of Planning and Zoning Commission. Any questions on ordinance 19-2025? Hearing none. Are there any staff comments?
No comments, Mayor.
Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on ordinance 19-2025? Seeing none, I will go ahead and call for a motion, and we have Councilwoman Stang, and a second from Councilman Lopez. We can go ahead and vote. That came up so fast. Oh, it's speeding up as we go. That is passed by a majority of 7. Next, we have ordinance 20-25, an ordinance of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, establishing the salary for presiding municipal court judge. Are there any questions on ordinance 20-2025? Hearing none, are there any staff comments?
No comments, Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone from the public who would like to speak on ordinance 20-2025? I'll call for a motion, and we have, these guys are on it so fast. It's awesome. Councilman Moreno has given us a motion, and Councilman Camacho a second. Thank you, gentlemen. You can go ahead and vote. And that also passes with a majority. Next, we have ordinances on first reading, ordinance 1-2026. An ordinance of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, prohibiting the use of gray water and the installation of gray water treatment works within the city. Are there any questions on ordinance 1-2026? Hearing none. Any staff comments?
Nothing beyond what was said in workshop unless you had additional questions.
Thank you. We have a motion by Councilwoman Stang and a second by Councilman Moreno. We can go ahead and I will call for the vote. And that also passes with a majority of 7. Next, we have ordinance 2-2026, an ordinance of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, amending section 38-33 and repealing section 38-43.11 of the Sheridan Municipal Code regarding registration of vehicles and driver's license regulations. Any questions on ordinance 2-2026? Hearing none, any staff comments? None of those? We have a motion on the floor from Councilman Whitaker and a second from Councilman Moreno. We can go ahead and I'll ask for a vote. Also passes a majority of 7. Next, we have resolutions. Resolution 1-2026, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan, Colorado, designating the posting location for notice of meetings of the City Council and all other local public bodies of the city. Any questions on Resolution 1 of 2026? Not exciting. Resolution 1. Hearing none, we have a motion from Councilman Moreno and a second from Councilwoman Stang. Go ahead and I will ask for a vote. That is passed with a majority. Next, we have Resolution 2-2026, resolution of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, approving the second amended services agreement between the City of Sheridan and presiding municipal judge Tiffany Source. Are there any questions on Resolution 2-2026? We have a motion on the floor, Councilman Moreno, and a second by Councilman Whitaker. I will call for the vote. And that is passed by a majority as well. Next, we have Resolution 3-2026, a resolution of the City Council of Sheridan, Colorado, approving an agreement between the City of Sheridan and CPS Human Resource Consultants for review of HR processes and on-site HR consultants. Are there any questions on Resolution 3-2026? Hearing none. Any staff comments?
No comments, Mayor.
Thanks. We have a motion on the floor, Councilwoman Stang, and a second by Councilman Moreno. I will go ahead and call for a vote. That also passes with the majority. Next, we have Resolution 5, 2025, resolution of the City Council of the City of Sheridan appointing Dennis Callahan to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Are there any questions? We have a motion from Councilman Camacho and a second from Councilwoman Stang. I'll go ahead and call the vote.
I have a request to speak from Councilmember Sting.
Oh,
No?
now you have to speak. Speak.
And then, Madam Mayor, we do have Dennis Callahan present in the chambers.
Hi, would you like to speak?
If you guys have any questions,
Okay. Any questions? Alrighty, then we'll go ahead and I will.
Yeah, make sure you hit that button.
Right. Go ahead and cast your votes, please. And that also has passed by a majority vote. Congratulations and welcome. Let's see. Where am I at? Oh, it is Mayor's Choice. Yay, we're almost done, y'all. So what I have been up to since I was sworn in is absolutely insane. Y'all don't even know. I've been to several different meetings. I've met with our state representative. Actually was at we had a gathering. Mona had a gathering on Saturday for Tara going out and me coming in, and our state rep Meg Froelich came and gave a beautiful certificate. They read a resolution on the House floor listing all of the things that Tara has done over her tenure. It was very, very, very nice. I have met with Jenna Oslos, who is going to be running for Meg's seat because our state senator is going to be running for treasurer. Jeff Bridges is going to be running for treasurer. And when he's elected, then Meg will be sworn into his seat. And so her seat will be empty. So Jenna is, but Jenna lives across from Englewood Rec Center. So she is a neighbor and met with her several times. She's very, very nice and would meet with any of you at any time if you'd like to. Let's see, Friday at the crack of dawn, I was at the mayor's, managers, and commissioners meeting in Glendale. Got out in the snow, which was loads of fun. I don't mind it, but apparently there were lots of people that did. It was in Glendale. Glendale, I learned, is 0.5 miles is all, but they have about the same amount of people because all of theirs are high-rise apartments and what have you. And one of the big discussions that we had that I believe that will be coming down the pike for all of us is our home rule being threatened. Especially around housing, the governor is, wanting cities to have so many apartment buildings, have so many affordable housing, have so many single-family homes. Well, and in the case of Cherry Hills Village and Centennial and Glendale, they don't really have the ability to, in Glendale's case, they would have to tear down a high rise of apartments to build a single family home. So they have a lawsuit. So it's going to be, I think, a big deal for us to, hone in on what's important to us, and what's important to the city of Sheridan is keeping our charter and our home rule rights in place. So that is what I've learned there. Many other things, so many, it's just been loads of fun. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. No other updates. Oh, I did do a special meeting with Dr. Cog. They had to appoint someone to the Railway Commission. I don't know if you guys remember me speaking way back when I was on city council about the Railway Commission that the state has commissioned, talking about a train that runs from Pueblo to Fort Collins, a passenger train. And so there is a railway commission and they are talking about it. They're working through all the issues and figuring out how to make this thing happen. So that would be very exciting. And that's it. That's all I got. Councilman Joyce? Anyone?
I do. I also got to go on Saturday and it was really touching to just get to tell Mayor Biter Fleur, just how much she meant to me and to get to see that handover with you too. I love you both and I'm just glad that you're in this seat.
Thanks.
Driving federal the last month, I think that as you get down to 285 here, the speed limit's 40 coming from the Denver side. And I can only imagine that that's got to contribute to some of these fatal crashes that are happening down there. And I wonder how difficult it would be to put a 35-mile-an-hour sign kind of down near where Bonsai is, or just right around there so that people headed north on Federal are slow or maintaining that slower speed, and work with, what would it be, Department of Transportation or Denver?
The state. It's a highway.
So coming the other direction,
Yeah.
if they reduce that to 35, even just on that hill, coming down from
Yep.
Dartmouth, I think it would really slow it down because those lights come up so fast you can't even see them
Right.
until you're like right underneath that overpass.
Mhm. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But that would be a state because federal is a state highway. So that could be a big ask, but not anything that we couldn't ask.
Just something that,
Yeah.
okay, let's work on that.
We could look into what is required. I know they have a pretty strict set of criteria that they look at when they set their speed limits for highways. So it's something we could look at and procedurally see if there would be any way. I'm not holding my breath, but we'll look into it.
Just just a little bit on either side of that overpass.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand it. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Okay. Anybody? Ernie? No? Y'all good? Well, guess what? We can adjourn this meeting. We finished a lot sooner. Remember, there's pizza.
Madam Mayor, you do have public comment and then adjournment.
Oh, we do have public comment and, sorry. We will now proceed to public comment portion of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any individuals?
No, there are no individuals for public comment, but we still have to call for it.
No, there are none. And with that being said, I will adjourn this meeting at 2018 or 8:18 p.m. For